Hi guys, and welcome to the Ask Nugget Show. Today our special guest is Neil from Crypto Recruit. How you going, mate?
Good, Alex. Great to be back again.
Yeah, you've been on the show before, a long time ago now, and there's so many jobs and the industry's changed since we first spoke, so we've got plenty of questions about all that today for you, mate.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
First question is the one that everyone wants to know. What are the most in-demand jobs and what are the highest paying jobs?
Yeah, good question. I think it's an interesting space. It's dynamic, it's changing. It's just like the prices of Bitcoin. It seems to mirror that a little bit. So the salaries really range. There's no set price. It really is about finding the right people. There's a supply shortage of candidates at the moment, so clients will pay to get the right people on board. And that salary can change from the same role from one company could pay 20, 30,000 more in the same role in another business. It's really about good companies trying to capture good talent at the moment, and they're willing to pay for it because they've raised a lot of funds. So I think typically, compared to the traditional industry, developers will get paid more. They'll get possibly similar base salaries, potentially a little bit more, but also that equity option, ability to earn more if they get behind a project. So these projects want people who are behind the mission. And they'll pay equity and tokens to do that. So on the developer side, they'll earn more, but then the real money is at the executive level side. And we're seeing a lot happening there, a lot of new money coming into the industry, looking for the best of the best, people from the traditional industries, the likes of your NASDAQ, stock exchanges, trying to pull that IP and know-how out of those industries and pull it into blockchain. And it's really interesting to see that people are at that level are very receptive to it. So they're really positive signs. And then there's your old traditionalists who just don't want to hear about it at all. So it's still a balance, but the fact that some are coming over, I think it will start to create this kind of herd mentality of others following. If a CEO from one company comes over, you're going to find that the other people are going to start talking in the business. And it's just a process that we're going through at the moment. But yeah,
probably,
in terms of... Yeah,
I was going to say, that probably rolls into the next question we've got, which is about how profitable exchanges are, and those highest paid executive roles are most likely at the, if you can get a job at Binance, wow, happy days.
So we work with actually some of the biggest the names in the top 5 exchanges. And it is interesting to say, I'll obviously won't mention any names, but some of these cryptocurrency exchanges are paying double, if not triple, the base salaries of people who are in traditional industries, because they know that, certainly at exec level, they're getting a lot of IP and knowledge of how it works in the real world that's been tested, and trying to pull that knowledge over into the crypto space and just replicate it in a way that works. And it's incredible to see some of the salaries that are going on there. And we know that cryptocurrency exchanges are making a lot of money. As you know, they make money on the way up and down. So there's a boom in that particular sector alone. It's kind of analogous to the way the crypto market was last year, where there were all of these ICOs. Now it seems to be a lot of these exchanges, and I think the same thing will happen, only a few of them will last.
Yeah, it's funny, as you said about the tokens and all that. I remember talking to Lucas, who's one of the best devs in Australia, and just saying that the good devs demand to get paid, in dollars or Ethereum up front because they're so in demand, whereas other people are sort of taking risks. And what happens if that token's down 90%, guys? I know for the stuff that both of us do, you just can't always take those risks. You need money to pay these people and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think, when you're negotiating your salary coming into the blockchain space, you would take probably at least 3/4 of it in fiat currency, hedge your bets, be careful. We know that it's volatile. And then maybe the other 25% in ETH or Bitcoin. But you always have the choice when you get paid to trade it.
Yeah. And I mean, as an advisor to a couple of projects, that's the vote of confidence, I guess, saying that, we're going to get paid in 100% tokens and escrow them for a year or two. You're putting the ultimate vote of confidence behind those good projects. So it works both ways.
Absolutely. If you really want to get a step into blockchain, agree to those kind of terms and show that you're behind the project. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
cool.
For sure.
Next question we have is from Adrian from Facebook, asking about what industries have you kind of noticed that are already the most affected? I know we've spoken about maybe going forward as well, but is it a bit of everything, or is there one in particular where you're sort of seeing, geez, we're putting so many people in this industry?
it's across the board. I think I would have to say, the obvious ones are kind of supply chain logistics, which is a great use case for. I mean, when you think about it, it's not rocket science. It's about what's going to produce a return on investment. What blockchain projects are actually going to start making money. Getting a very interesting insight into which projects are good and which ones are scams. Let's call it that. Okay.
Yeah.
You kind of see it with those projects that are not hiring after they've raised those 20 or 30 million. You kind of know what the intentions are there. They really just use it as a capital raise. Otherwise, they should be building out these teams.
And without naming names, you've heard of ones even locally that have raised tens of millions and have already basically run out of money.
Yeah, well, so I wouldn't mention any names, but I mean, it wouldn't take a lot of digging to probably guess, but some of them will have run out of money. They will have kept ETH. As we know, that ETH is worth a fifth of what it was before. I mean, it's a terrible situation for them to be in. Some would call it luck or unlucky, and then other people go, they were irresponsible not to trade it or at least hedge it into fiat. It's not for me to judge. That's their choice, and investors put their money in. But
yeah, I guess it's market cycles. And I mean, a year ago we were saying 99.9% will fail, and people don't realize that all this stuff is just, it happens. Who would have foreseen a 90% correction and all these sort of things? It's just the tech startup space.
It gets clouded. People get clouded. I know you've been saying it the whole time. Be careful. Most of them are gonna fail, but people don't listen. So next time, for your audience, listen when experts speak about these things, and give it a lot of weight, because these things happen. I mean, there's lots of predictions happening now, and people just need to be ahead of the game, so they're not one of the 95% who lose. You want to be one of the 5% who wins, right?
Yeah. A question here about media and how much that's sort of changing filming and editing, but I guess social media in general. Less people are watching TV and listening to radio, and social media influencers are having more and more of an impact. Is that something that you notice from the job side of things?
So the projects that are a bit further along, well, in the exchange space, they need a lot of social media marketing people, because they are just out there trying to get to the general population, right, and get people to come on and trade. And the exchange space is great, but it is just trading, really. What we need to see is more of those jobs coming into actual blockchain projects that are a little further along and ready to deliver a product. I think right now the focus is still on those exec level positions and developers. We're still at development stage for most of these projects. So there's not too many that have a lot of media marketing, social media presence at the moment, because they don't need it right now, but they will. I guess in 6 to 12 months time, you're going to see it rise.
There's phases. Yeah, there's fundraising, and then we're going to be targeting different people to actually use these apps in the future. But that's a very interesting point about there's only so long we can trade these things back and forth if they have no use case. At the end of the day, the exchanges are going to go, oh, hold on, we actually need these projects to start working and doing things, because otherwise people aren't going to be trading them.
Yeah, and we work with some of these big exchanges, and it's interesting to see what some of them are doing. Some of them are portioning quite a bit of money towards building out the actual ecosystem, so they can see that. They've got longer visions. There are a lot of exchanges, I'm sure, exchanges between 10 and 20 on the global list who are in it for the quick buck, some of them. But the big ones making so much money that they're willing to support the whole ecosystem. And that's really positive.
Awesome. Well. Yeah, we've definitely seen that. Things like Binance Academy through education, Coinbase starting to lobby government, and they want to make things happen. So any final thoughts, mate?
Other than, we're actually, at the moment, surprisingly, the price came down, but the jobs seem to have gone up, which is kind of, sounds a bit odd, but what we are targeting are the decent projects out there that really have a use case in mind and that are really want to build. So we're finding we're actually inundated with a lot of jobs at the moment. So, if there's any of your audience who are interested in a career, we're always hiring. We're based here in Sydney, but we look at people remote as well. And we've got a pretty interesting business model. I can see people do well. We've got a team of people out here, and we're recruiting mostly in San Francisco, New York, Hong Kong, not so much in Australia. But we would love to have people come in and join us here. So a good career to be had. I do see a positive future in this space. There's a lot of projects out there who are doing the right thing, and I reckon the next 6 to 12 months should be interesting in terms of actual deliverables. So,
yeah, we've kind of been through the hard part. I think people will look back at 2018 and be that real testing times. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll put all the contact details below, guys, if you're interested in any blockchain jobs. And thanks again for joining us today, Neil.
Legend. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.